Hello, and welcome to another episode of my Wildermyth Let's Play. This is Northstar. I hope you folks are well. Different day. I think talked about maybe doing stuff the same day, but I ran out of energy, as I often do with my long COVID. For those new to my channel, I'm disabled with long COVID. It sucks. I have very limited energy, sometimes difficulty focusing, sometimes it takes me longer to think through things, especially when I'm tired, which I get tired much quicker, easier, and my sleep's often disordered and not restful sleep, so I apologize. By the way, you're probably seeing a lot of people not getting restful sleep these days because a lot of people are actually getting long COVID type symptoms. A lot of people are getting long COVID. It's not always life-altering, debilitating symptoms like I have. A lot of people get more mild symptoms, just make their life a little more problematic. They don't even know it's long COVID because it's not like a game where a pop-up says you have long COVID now or something. No one necessarily knows, and a lot of COVID infections now that people are getting vaccinated are asymptomatic, but they still can cause long COVID. And we know the coronavirus is still going around because of sewage monitoring. This is recording, right? Yep. Sewage monitoring and occasional PCR testing. The government's not subsidizing the quick tests anymore, and so they're not being produced really, so you can't get quick tests against the variants that are currently out, and old expired ones don't work. They just always show negative because they're not against the current variants, which my mother took some had some symptoms like COVID-like, and she's like, "Oh, I took quick tests, it's negative." It's like that means nothing now when you have like these 2-year out of date quick tests because they were the ones she had like 2 or 3 years expired. That won't detect any of the current variants. And it's still going around. And then she's now like not getting restful sleep. I mean, it's so unpredictable because, you share half your DNA with your parents, so there's probably genetic susceptibility. Which is part of why people are like, in protest, seeing no eugenics thing because of the theory that the government is, and this is probably accurate. If I assaulted them, there would I have to face the Thrixl Incursion? I don't know. These are the guys, people, position only Tomric. Why, sir? Gemini. Yeah, sorry, where was I? I lost my train of thought. Especially on multitasking, which is hard for me. Yeah, my mom, there may be a genetic susceptibility. Oh, yeah, and the protests, people accusing the government of eugenics, basically wanting to see anyone who's got a susceptibility to long COVID die off because the government's not doing enough about it. Although I read a recent blog by a physician who thought, oh, there's increasing pressure and the government will do something about it. It's like an increasing awareness in society. It's like, no, there isn't. Maybe in the medical profession there's increasing awareness of long COVID. But most people I talk to still have never heard of the bloody thing, which you have to be intentionally blind because there's been a lot of articles about it. Meaning that people don't know just because they choose not to read anything about it. They see the headline, something long COVID, and they just don't read it because they meant to want to forget anything to do with the pandemic. But it's not just to do with the pandemic. As I said, people are still getting long COVID now because they're still getting coronavirus infections. And even when vaccinated, you can still get long COVID. It's not that protective. It was initially thought to be like 50, 45% protective. It turns out that was an overestimate. It's more like, 25% risk reduction. So you still have 3/4 of chance of getting long COVID from a COVID infection that you did unvaccinated. And your risk goes up with every reinfection. I don't mean like you rolling the dice twice and some more people. I mean your odds could be 3 times that getting COVID the second time as they were the first, kind of thing. It's not always that drastic, but each infection is worse than the last in terms of the risk in that particular occasion of getting long COVID. We're down with Thrixl. I don't seem to know we're here. How shall we destroy them? do not want to do fires against Thrixl because they can interfuse. Distraction I've often been fond of. Gosh, I can't remember what happens if any of these fail. It's been a while since I played this. My memory is always a little off with long COVID. I'll just do this. Excellent. Half of them are chasing fairies. Now we strike. Armor warning. I do remember, though, when you succeed, you get that, and that's very good. As opposed to East, which helps you hit harder in the first, 3 rounds, but then it's gone, and you got nothing. Draythix, 2 Kinesteds, 4 Dweavers. The Thrusts, I count 3 bodies. There's so many. So 6 Thrusts, I think. Of which I can see 3 already. Fun. So I'm not at my sharpest. I'm gonna have to focus on this a second. But it all saved from the battle began, didn't it? Rolling Warren. It's the site of the battle. But yeah, our government's not. The United States government is not doing shit about it. I'm investing in medical research. I find myself doing stuff like I do my Alpha. I have an Alpha Centauri Let's Play, and I play that. And I find myself building bases dedicated to medical research. Of course, I think any society, especially futuristic one, should be devoting more resources to medical research. Especially as we're entering an era where stuff like AI is going to create mass unemployment. And people think, oh, what didn't happen before with automation in 1800s? Yes, it did. That's a sincerely idiotic take by people who don't know their history. You can be counted on to have bad takes. They think automation in the 1800s actually did displace a lot of workers, but because of the expansion of government jobs, the government created a lot of jobs in bureaucracy, expanded police forces, military, etc., and those jobs created jobs. Because if you have jobs that are not dependent on making a profit, or they're export jobs, basic jobs that are anchor jobs to economy, so manufacturing or government bureaucracy, those jobs are going to support many, many other jobs, providing services that people who work those jobs. So the government may have only created 5 million jobs in the US and bureaucracy and military and such, but those jobs in turn created another 25 million jobs. And yeah, that's 30 million jobs that wouldn't be around otherwise, which is a large percentage of the workforce. If the government just stopped spending money, today there would be mass unemployment, which is exactly what Doge is trying to do, is create mass employment now. These techno-fascist libertarians, by cutting government funding, because there would actually be mass unemployment if government spent very little on anything. The free market will not create full employment. In fact, it benefits hugely from mass unemployment because wages go down. And yes, that will theoretically increase profit margins, but the profit margins of creating jobs in the US are never going to compete with profit margins of doing it cheap overseas labor supplies that the US military helps keep wages artificially low with bombing and cooing countries, the military and the CIA, that try and raise their wages, strengthen labor laws. Hillary Clinton was infamously involved in the coup in Haiti because they tried to raise their minimum wage. It's a lot of mechanisms of imperial domination, but the point being is it's always going to be more profitable to do jobs overseas, or even just in China, which is not dominated by the US, but still. Although it's been argued that China keeps its currency artificially devalued to keep this profitable for US firms, so they'll invest there. There may be some truth to that, but though you get conservatives, well, not conservatives, you get fascists like Trump who massively overstate it to justify tariffs and stuff way beyond what's sensible. You could argue for like a very low rate of tariffs, but not the insane ones that are being done based on the evidence. Indeed, trade isn't free. It causes environmental damage, requires port facilities. So what's economically optimal is like below like 10% rate on tariffs and all goods. But anything more than that it's going to hurt people a lot. You want to prevent a distortion where you don't want too much emphasis on trading from overseas, not accounting. And you don't have to do tariffs either. You can do like port fees that have the same effect and will actually more accurately capture the cost, like maintaining port security and stuff. Those are harder to maintain though politically than a low rate of tariffs usually. Anyways, yeah, economics gets so distorted though with stuff like the fake Nobel Prize in economics. I think I talked about this before and definitely in other videos. It's not a real prize in economics. It wasn't created by the Nobel legacy, the endowment or whatever. It's got no connection at all to the Nobel family. It was created by the Swedish Central Bank in 1969. Something like 3 generations after the actual Nobel Prizes. And it doesn't. Nobel Prize is essentially a brand. It's gotten to be so famous because of the very high standards for giving out a Nobel Prize, and this, and that goes into how people are how the consideration is done for who gets the prize. And the Swedish Central Bank doesn't use the same process, and in fact, they've given out Nobel Prizes in quote economics, not real Nobel Prizes. We should just call it the Swedish Central Bank Prize in Economics because that's what it really is, in a very biased manner, typically to right-wing economists, though occasionally to social Democrats or center-left people whose views are not at all dangerous to the very wealthy who are overrepresented in central banks. They tend to be the people who control central banks, is the wealthiest, most old money families in the country, like people with connections to literal Swedish aristocracy. Strathix can trample right the heck over this mossy rock, but I'll probably just try and spit poison. All display scenery that can be interfused with. Real pain. The Shinbrenner rather aggressively. And I don't mind taking some hits. Reason why being a splinter. That's exactly why. You don't remember I discussed it before. Yeah, probably just hit what I can first. We'll see. So I'm just gonna go up here and tank some hits. Tomric with mobility for it. go through that tile. Alright, this could be a mistake, but I'm gonna put people rather aggressively, I think. Definitely need some of this temporary armor. Brenner stands side by side by him, with him, I think. I don't know. Thrusts have predictable movement, which can't be said of the Dweavers to the same degree. Okay, Brenner. Tomric to not get overwhelmed. We need to make her way to the front. It's take a little while because she's old and slow. Speed 3.5. It's actually gonna get worse. If I can find gear that would make her faster. There's a few rare things that increase speed, I would have sworn. Alright, probably want to prevent flanking hits on these guys. Oh wow, he can interfuse all the way up here. Guess he's got a lot of... Swan Scepters, yeah, the more fine looking scepter. This is free interfusion. Interfuse with 5 objects. Do that tree as well. This is so that I don't see a Dweaver try and hop behind these guys and gain flanking, then making all the frontal attacks not miss. I will assume those are the only things the Dweaver will be able to do this turn. Brenner will interfuse these rocks and I slur this web probably next turn. Or spell damage with the Sky Wither. chance of instead of just extra damage on a stunt. Attacking twice. Yeah, this could wipe out a ton of enemies, so fewer things I have to deal with interfusing. Boom, baby. Masku. Well, kill that Dweaver and not have to worry about it being interfused. Well, I guess, yeah. But, this rock is a problem. So I want a Brenner. Who's now poisoned, but he was, invigorated, so he's fine. In fact, got 610 health. And then he gained +2 from each of his 2 calcifies, so yeah, 10 health. Stuck it to one of them. Guarding. So that is, it doesn't show which ones, but I know it can follow the path back, and yeah, this is Dweaver that's interfused. That rock. Supposed to be a problem if you pop back and start chewing at Weisler. It's not that durable. Still, that turn went well enough. Oh, she can hit this from here. Huh. I'll save an uninterfused by destroying this womb, I guess. Destroy the scenery. Also allows her to directly engage. This. A shot at this. Stunt. Yay. Move the poison on Brenner. Need to have Uli aid him. Do it for a little bit, but what I can do is just have him rock shield himself. The poison just digs into that temporary HP for a turn. Some nice durability. Use those rocks. Rock shield from this, because there's always the risk of the Drathix deciding what to stomp the rear, maybe. It also has the most health of any of the rocks I could discuss this. Yeah, Drethix probably won't. It's not smart path. Let's see, it looks like a Thresk. Doesn't refuse this. No big deal. Either burn. I don't care. Slog just bought me for refusing. Also not a big deal. I guess I might have to fall back at times. Yeah. Just gonna use this rock. $27 health. Brenner will be fine. Nothing they can do to him, really. Is this one to discus? It's a 10 damage. Probably trying to hit the Dweaver. That's a lot of health. Nice. Tomric bravely stands his ground. It's 22 health. It's worth noting you can eventually turn this Pine Cone in and get an extra health. I think it's one of the few effects that's permanent between campaigns, if I remember. It's +1 health. It's not a huge deal, but and it's very hard to get. It's almost impossible to get that without going multiple campaigns, so it wouldn't make sense otherwise. Used to be there were more ways to get power-ups between campaigns, but it was kind of out of hand, so I understand the devs remove most of them. Most, but not all. He's got soul splitting with one object. Web 2. Sir, the more he soul splits, harder he is to kill. He's got amazing interfuse range, probably because his potency 6. Maybe it was just where his staying was. I swear it affects the range. Because yeah, this has 8 range and his potency is 5. It's definitely not the same for everyone. What's the scaling though? It doesn't say. Anything else I can really interfuse with without advancing or doing 2 health stuff, which will not take many hits. We're killing a Thrixl that's interfused with something already. It's the most likely thing. Oh, we could wild grasp. Thrixl doesn't move it, it just... Hmm. In which case... let's have him stay put for now. So we'll split a couple more times. Grass, the only thing you can reach. Any note. Oop, lot. Well. Poison's one of the few things gets their Brenner's health. Anyways, so I mean Brenner's defenses. He does have 10 temporary armor. It's actually more than Dominic. More warding to boot. Very durable, though he has less ability to regenerate temporary armor than a stalwart warrior. I think it's probably because Brenner's got some... None of this gives armor. How does he have so much armor? Just his Heather. Yeah, it's just his interfusing because he's done it with so much stuff. Although he does get extra potency, which allows more interfusions with some of his gear. It's a good map for Brenner to stand his ground. I guess I could stand here and take a shot at the Dweaver. Wouldn't hurt. Javelin. Back. Ooh. Back these two up. Just get poisoned by the Thrixl there, though. Just do it conservatively. Should probably invigorate. Squishy character, so I don't have to worry about him nearly as much. Squishier than anyone else. Someone is soul split 4 ways. Squishy is not a particularly descriptive term, really. He's not really squishy at all. And kill the Thrixl. It missed when he was interfused with it. Apparently there was both Thrixl not respecting engaged before. Explains how sometimes with its poison breath it was able to attack other party members. Did seem odd. Turns out it was unintended behavior. Wonder if one of the devs saw one of my streams. Maybe. So few people who stream this game these days that make a certain amount of sense. Oh, the chrysalises don't really move anywhere. So engage it. Kistic can unfortunately fall out of range. I should shoot it so I don't get overwhelmed. There goes the log that was interfused with Thrixl. Alright, 2 squares. Gosh, I hate them because they can burrow and destroy scenery and knock your party around in Mind Worm. A Nightmare, 2 Seekers, a Bard. No Muses, though. There's no risk of being dominated. I have to move forward if I want the squares to target the rear character. But yeah, medical research important. You guys want to actually see if you pop over to my Alpha Centauri videos, which there's a huge buffer. So this November, anyways, I recorded a video and then OBS wasn't recording the screen, annoyingly, and so I was checking here. I think it had to do with opening 2 programs that both required administrator permission to rapid succession. Didn't get it or something. I don't know. Something happened. This is not the first time I've had that problem with that game, even though I just do display screen capture, not game with OBS. Since the latest update, anyways, could have been a new issue. Could be, I suppose. Drathix caused 6 to 8 damage. That's pretty nasty. Even with his armor and shield, I could. But it looks just poison. Found. Nice again. Brenner's down to 10 temporary health. He had 9 before. And bumped up to 11. I guess the rock shield did not absorb the poison. That didn't work. Oh well. Guess that makes sense, but kind of hoped it would. Import. I need a lot of temporary armor. To get some of the big bads on Omric. Shoot. No, I thought he could engage the square. He doesn't have the range. Let's load it. $40 already? Jeez. Been going for a bit. Hmm. Uh, 17 temp armor. Tomrik's job is just to tank what hits I can. He also start flanking the Draythix, potentially. Yep, for a dagger. It's got 4 armor. I should be able to do 14 damage. Stab. Could kill it outright if Jeffalot was still silk stepped. Great plane, that is. Could just shoot it. Hmm. There's a chance missing the Draythix from here. Hmm. What to engage? What to engage? Guess this. I don't know if it works, but to kill the Draythix. And I can, so. Should probably Foxfight. There's too many things that can't prevent them all from hitting Javelin. Dead. Well placed dagger. That's the trick. Uh, as far forward as better. Go and instantly interfuse with that rock. Few things match my disdain for these scorers, so I'll pin it. I can. Oh yeah, Lyser could also aid Renner if he gets poisoned again. Or worse. Hmm. Drathic's gone. 'Tis time. What's interfused with that? To tree? One of these thrusts. Um, oh well. Nothing interfused with. This gives more warding than the other wand. Let's see. 7 versus 8. As well as extra damage. Hmm. Best wild grasp. One of these. One with more health. This is always Quelling Moss to deal with the less health ones. Star Spelter to good use. They're smart enough to flank. All that did was get the thrust. They did the flanking bond. Did get through Tomric's armor. Went back here, but didn't do anything. And there's the Seekers, which will try and dream trap. People can be woken from it. I think it wears off, but would be a problem. Alright, getting surrounded. Not great. So stop flanking for Brenner with the discus. Let's engage with both those thrusts now. Let's see. Uh, Brenner go here and wall with these two. Sec. You know, now, we could do this. Help establish flanking on this Thrusk. Wall with Lyser. And all these cronies with Lyser. Fairly worthwhile. He's closer with Uli and Tomric. We got a stunt. He would have got another move. Could have pinned that square again. take out the Seekers. Pretty high priority. This is taking out this rare Thrixl. Spirit Chase to ensure this succeeds. Crowd control. Nice blood bonding with Lysler. Stand next to him, not a bad move. I should probably aid Jivenlod in case he needs to go deep. In there, temporary health. No issues. And use the flanking setup. I'm gonna wait. Just from that position. Oh, this flanking then. That would destroy the tree. I don't want to do that because of soul splitting. Oh. Boom. And because I can use the tree to immobilize the enemies like warriors, pin them. And I destroy the webbing with the bone lance there. I need to lose 2 objects at once. Seeker is not engaged, and it's dangerous, of course. Try and shoot it. Dead. Yep, bow warriors are a thing. It's worth noting. Always good with bow. Remembering, you'll see people complaining about this game and they're new. Oh, hunters aren't that good with their bows, and my warriors get slaughtered from a distance. Just give your warriors a bow, and they can swap between it and a melee weapon. They don't need 2 melee weapons. Sword, shield, and bow are a good combo. Sword adds to defenses and accuracy a little bit. Shield helps a warrior take some hits. With Stalwart, it really makes a huge difference because sometimes the shield will cause 0 damage to be taken. And something would do exactly 1 damage. With temporary armor Stalwart, you can make armor last a very long time. Yeah, anyways. But bows can allow warriors to not get slaughtered from a distance, so it's very important. Let's see. Should probably try and deal with the Kinstead before it weighs so many Chrysalises that it's still gonna take a little longer to. I could just deal with the ones that are hatching soonest. Looking for ones that say emerging. That means they're about to. This one. I'm not sure I can keep up with it. Yeah, I'll just go for the square, actually. Pretty sure that. No, it's not poison when it emerges. Oh well. See, shield. 0 damage, 1 blot. Didn't even eat into temporary armor. Shields really help. Do not like burrow. Not at all. And they're smart enough to squish things you're infused with flat. As just happened. Cool, cool, cool. That square is as good as dead. Surrounded. The one's real close. They can't mind worm people who are Stalwart Plus. And Brenner managed to not get mind worm, but he has a ton of health. Alright. Yeah, an hour and 4 minutes here, so I am going to need to cut this video. I will see you folks in the next one. Take care of each other. Be kind to yourselves. May you always find a guy and start leading. Adieu.